Susie and Lewis's divorce was scandalous. After being married for 14 years, it was as if they looked at each other for the first time. All the neighbours heard the battles that took place before the divorce. "You're nobody," shouted Susie. "You've been sitting in the same office chair for 15 years now, and you haven't moved forward. Your colleagues are advancing in their careers, but you're still just a manager in procurement." "You were okay with me being a manager before and didn't complain about it. And who are you? How nice it sounds to be a florist. But in reality, you're just a flower seller without any education. Besides, you only started working a year ago, and your salary is twice as low as mine, so be quiet. I was not promoted because stability is more important to me. Where are half of those careerists? They're fired, and I'm still in my place," Lewis answered. "Well, it's convenient for you. What have you acquired in your whole life? You live in my apartment, and you bought such a car that it's embarrassing to drive out of the yard." "In your apartment? It's your grandmother's apartment, and you were eagerly waiting for the elderly lady to die so you could grab her property. But you're also living here. Anyway, think about where you're going to move. You've been sitting at my house too long, just like in your office chair. Find a rental apartment from some old woman." "Why from an old lady? I'll find myself a young girl who won't drive me crazy, and my profession won't bother her. A beautiful and caring young girl," Lewis taunted. "Ha! Have a look at yourself in the mirror. You're almost 40, bald and fat. Find a pensioner at best, you'll look harmonious with her. Even an old lady won't look your way. You're disgusting." Everyone in the neighbourhood heard about the scandal, except for their 12-year-old daughter Lizzie, who always went for a walk at the start of any parental quarrel. The girl had long realised that soon everything would be different. Dad would leave home, and they would be left alone with Mum. Sad, of course, but it was better than constant quarrels. And then it happened. Lewis moved to a rental apartment, and soon they divorced. Susie breathed a sigh of relief. She was tired of his sluggishness, laziness, and unwillingness to move up the career ladder, and Susie was especially dissatisfied with her husband's weight gain. She had put him on a diet for many years, but he constantly bought donuts with coffee at work, ruining all Susie's efforts. "Well, now I'll have a wonderful life," thought Susie. "I have an excellent job where I can make new acquaintances. Interesting men often come to the flower shop, but I need to get myself in order. Cosmetologist, manicure, pedicure, hairstyle, fresh perfume, and let this fool continue to spread on his chair. I'll look at him in a couple of years. He'll wallow in his worries, sink lower than a plank, and I will laugh at his degradation." Susie immediately put her plan into action. She looked stunning at her 34, but men came, chose bouquets, and left without paying any attention to the saleswoman. 6 months of freedom and no results. "Susie, you won't find a husband here," Tanya, a souvenir seller in the neighbouring store, told her. "The men who come here clearly already have a lady in their hearts." Then Susie changed her tactics. She started going to bars and hanging out on dating sites. But apparently something kept men from her. She was still single. Having no personal life, Susie became curious about what was happening to her ex-husband. He paid alimony regularly and talked to their daughter on the phone, but rumours reached Susie that he sold the car she was so unhappy with and switched to a bicycle. Who would have thought sports and Lewis were incompatible? Periodically, various photos began to appear on his social network page. Here he was on a bike outside the city. Here he was with friends fishing. And here he was sitting by the grill with kebabs, hugging some blonde girl around 30 years old. It just drove Susie crazy. According to all her predictions, he should be drinking and degrading, but he lost weight and became more handsome. When it was Liz's birthday, she asked her dad to come and congratulate her. Susie was trembling. She hadn't seen her ex-husband since last fall, and now it was summer. She wanted to appear beautiful and successful in front of him. But when he arrived, Susie herself felt how nervous and jealous she was behaving. "Who is the young blonde in the photo? She's old enough to be your granddaughter," she asked her ex-husband. "This is my fiancée, Lizzie," Lewis answered calmly. "She's 31 years old. I don't think 9 years age difference is such a big deal. We'll get married and start our own business. With our future wife, we'll see how it goes." "You won't get anything done. You're lazy. You probably lost weight because you can't afford to buy donuts anymore. How does Lizzie even tolerate you?" "She doesn't tolerate me. She loves and inspires me. She doesn't yell or have any complaints about me. I wasn't lazy. I just got tired of living with you in constant stress. I used pastries to drown out domestic scandals. I didn't want to move forward in my career because whatever I did was criticized by you. Now everything is different for me. Everything is great." Susie needed maximum effort not to claw at her ex-husband's cheek. This fat and lazy cat, who was almost 5 years older than her, had a successful personal life, and she, such a beauty, had no contenders for her hand and heart. Life is unfair. Every day, heavy thoughts came to Susie. She tried to push them away, but they rolled in with renewed force like a new wave. How could she ruin her stable life with her own hands? Why was she so unfair to her husband? Why did she listen to her divorced friends? Nothing worked out for them, and now she's the same. Once again, Susie, frustrated with her gloomy thoughts, went to the fridge for a sandwich and a cake that she bought so as not to die of loneliness in the evening.